Oh, hello. My name is Dylan Gott.
And my name is Dylan. Wait, what?
Whoa. And this week we're talking about a man who was one of the greatest football players of all time and
Didn't
now
even know
has
he
a
played
talk
football.
show that John Hastings watches a lot. Shannon
I've
Sharpe.
watched I've watched two episodes. Let me tell you this. This is something I've learned. You want to get me to watch something? Look into the camera and go, there's a black comedian fucking just telling gossip on this. It's by the way, for the first hour and a half, you will be bored in a way that is violent. But then he's gonna look at the camera and go, let me tell you about Steve Harvey's wig, and you're gonna go, this is why we wake up.
Wait a minute. So you watched the Cat Williams thing and were bored for an hour and a half?
No, the Monique one I was bored. The Monique one I was bored, but I knew she goes in on DL Hughley, and also like Monique is so evil. Like she just comes across as like just an ass that it's sort of exciting.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. I don't there's just something about like I don't know anything about the feud between her and DL Hughley. It's just the way that Monique starts every sentence with like big giant like we're talking about family. In the same way that any comedian I've just met, if they immediately bring up, let me tell you who I love, my wife, in my head, I'm going, this guy's gonna fuck a waitress this weekend. In the same way, like it has that same tone where she's like, I like my family. And I'm like, there's four people in a room in a house that she owns, and they are not allowed to leave that room. Like that's just the vibe of it. And she's time was you'd speak to Mark Maron, who is a melting down person with a
I
personality
think that you're
disorder.
confusing it. Like, I don't think. When was the last time Mark Maron had like a black comedian who talked to him like they
What I
were
mean is,
peers?
time was Mark Maron is where comedians went to go. Like we'd learn about the lore and the shade of comedians in like the 2010s. That's where we would get like, whoa, they didn't like each. Todd Glass is gay. What? And now it's like Cat Williams is the best. We knew this, but it's even more true.
Yeah, but I think that you're conflating that with like Mark Maron's podcast was always him, and then like, yeah, Todd Glass, him and Louis C.K. had that weird passive aggressive, like, well, the reason I didn't like you is because of this. Well, here's the reason I didn't like you. And at
Oh
no
my god,
point
yeah,
is Mark Maron mentioning that this guy who he knows very well blocks the door and makes people watch him jack off,
yeah. It's
which is a
so
really funny recasting. But it's like a different show because okay,
it's such a different show.
here's how a
There's no show
comedian
like Club Shay Shay because no show could be allowed
Shannon
on
Sharpe doesn't
television.
have Shannon Sharpe doesn't have any dog in the fight. B
None.
Shannon Sharpe is a television personality who's been on television consistently for 30 years now.
Is that true?
Yeah. All right. So
That does
Shannon
not
Sharpe
come
is a
across in his.
professional American football player. He was too big to be a wide receiver. He was widely thought to be too big to be a wide receiver, or too slow to be a wide receiver, and too small to be a tight end. He rises to prominence with the Denver Broncos, and is the linchpin of that entire offense that wins back-to-back Super Bowls in the late 90s. And everyone else
Okay.
on the entire team is, well, Bill Romanowski is a flat out fucking psychopath, but everyone else on the team is just like, oh, I'm just happy to be here. I wake up in the
So
morning, I have what the Surgeon General says to eat for breakfast. I kiss my mom on the exact lips, eyes open, both of us, so we can see how much we like it. And
so
then
I don't know
Shannon
anything
Sharpe
about.
is like, yes, I was drafted in the seventh round. I will fuck your dad after this. That is a
Okay.
guarantee. The
So what?
trophy to me is breaking up your father and mother's marriage. The Super Bowl is secondary.
So what you're saying is it's the best of all worlds, which is it's 90s athletes, and there's only two. One type is exactly as Dylan described. It's my cheat day. You know what that means? 1.5 bowls of oats for breakfast. And then the other guy is literally like, I just smoked crack with your mom so that your mom failed your drug test, and then your mom got fired at work. You want to know why I did that? Because you need a fucking edge in the game. Also, I thrive in chaos. I stole your car. Like those guys. Like just like, hey, that guy was a bully and always won. Yeah, sometimes life is unfair. Yeah.
No,
What
he's
were
an
you up to?
underdog. Shannon Sharp's an underdog because his brother Sterling
No one
Sharp was
has
what
those kinds of thighs and is an underdog, sir.
he
He's an
was an
underdog.
underdog.
He was an
All right,
underdog in the
so
NFL
there was like
specifically.
nearly 300 professional football players drafted before him. They wouldn't give him a shot to play in the league. He finally does, and he's literally one of the best tight ends of all time. He redefined how you play that sport. And to put things in perspective of how popular football is, there are two colors when you talk about the widest watched broadcasts of all time in North America. There are colors for everything else, and there is a color for football. So this guy, multiple times a year, was being seen by more people than watched the finale of MASH or whatever fucking the moon landing.
Yeah. Here's what's crazy about that. That does not come across when you're watching Club Shay Shay. What he like presents on that show is he comes across like the charming guy on the team that like one time caught a ball with his helmet. Like he does not come across like a once in a generation definitional athlete. He comes across as the like, I would have
That's
been the
how he sees
equipment man.
himself, because even you see a 6'4" guy wwho's 260, 270, still on the most
Buddy,
roids, can literally
he's
at
3'1" and
50
he is
bench press.
juiced, buddy. You know what he's having for breakfast? OJ.
Oh,
And he
yeah.
is not getting the machine out, man.
He can
He's
bench press
bald,
500 pounds
OT.
at 50.
Yeah. That guy
He's
does not bench. Those are purely cosmetic muscles, and he will still try and fight you. He will tear both quads doing it.
he tried to fight an entire basketball team last year.
What are you talking about? Tell me the story right now. What do you mean? What do you mean? Which basketball team? Please tell
The
me.
Memphis Grizzlies, John Morant got caught with a gun like 3 times. He went on Instagram Live with a gun, and they were going back and forth. And Shannon Sharpe, you haven't seen this Shannon Sharpe photo where Shannon Sharpe's walking away. Literally 5 people tried to attack Shannon Sharpe, and Shannon Sharpe was like, I'll fucking fight all of you. You're which is so funny because he's like, okay,
Yeah,
you're
he's
pretty
a
big.
football-
You're also a basketball player, and I've
Basketball
seen
player.
you guys punch, so
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking razor's edge you through the fucking floor.
I got
Shannon
news for you
Sharpe's
right
fucking awesome.
by the way, here's the TV show I want to see, which is, and by the way, Dana White, you want to be able to sell a UFC in the Sphere? Here's how you do it. It's a UFC pay-per-view, but it's athletes from other sports. So it's like great one v great one, Lemieux v Gretzky in the octagon, Shannon Sharpe versus just a bunch of orangutans or something crazy like that. You know what I mean? Shannon Sharpe versus 3 people with guns. Just let's get fucking crazy. You know what I
Shannon
mean?
Sharpe is a 55-year-old man who tried to fight a bunch of professional athletes.
I gotta tell you, this makes these interviews even fucking crazier. Where is this guy when Cat Williams is literally like looking him in his face and being like, I didn't realize that Earthquake is like Shannon Sharpe's best friend, and Cat Williams is like, your best friend's illiterate. Like, which by
Shannon
the way
Sharpe
is my new favorite insult. Hey, Dylan.
Yes.
You can't read.
Shannon Sharpe won 3 Super Bowls. Man, he is truly one of the best
90s Super
athletes
Bowls
of
too.
ever.
That's when you're getting a rim job and people are like, hey, what?
He was he was on a team with a guy who probably saw a murder, Ray Lewis. I mean, 10,000
Wait,
yards receiving, Betty. He's
first
fucking
of all, Dylan, let's amend that. This was before Ray Lewis. I'm also, wasn't it not saw, but very much participated in a murder?
maybe helped out. I've never really looked into it, but like maybe helped clean up a murder. But anyway, Shannon Sharpe's brother was on pace to be the best wide receiver in the NFL. No one gave a shit about him. They didn't let him play. And keep in mind, the Denver Broncos fucking sucked, and they wouldn't let him play.
This.
They finally let him play, and he's amazing. He's like pretty much they let him play, and then he's first team All Pro, which means he's the best at that position in the National Football League. And then he's 1968, so they pretty much let him start playing at like 26. Is that right? No, he was 24 when they started giving him
I remember
Still.
all of this, and here's why: is my grandmother, who was the most competitive psychopath ever, but really into tennis, and then in around the late 90s discovered football. And then if you were just near her, you're watching football. And I remember a woman in her mid 80s, just in like a very intense old lady dress, stood up in the middle of the living room, didn't know the names of the teams, just going, go blue, blue, Go blue.
She smoke inside?
Absolutely not. But she did have ashtrays in case one of her guests smoked. And I believe
Oh, that's good.
there was also, I believe, cigarettes in case a guest wanted to smoke, which is such an extra level, which is like, oh, we don't, that's a filthy habit.
Please smoke.
But please, if you have any inclination, there are no impediments.
Yeah, we did that for a party once. We had just like a
Oh,
bowl of indigenous cigarettes that you could just have one where it's like we don't have Belmonts. If you want to fight with your throat, there's a
oh,
bowl.
no one. This is. I was explaining this to someone recently because I was like, "Oh my god, we were close to a reserve," and I was like, "We can go get a bag of cigarettes." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh, in Canada, you can drive onto a native reservation and walk into, and I'm not making this up, a literal shed, and in that shed, you can purchase cigarettes that are just made by a native person." And by I mean made, I mean you see a guy with a bunch of loose tobacco and a cigarette machine making them and then putting them in a bag.
Yeah, and then they cost what you think that would.
$20.
I don't know how much they cost anymore.
One time it was,
I did a show on a reserve and I really was like, fuck, maybe I should fucking just buy
yeah,
some.
you should have. I got to tell you, I just had that thought. I was like, if I was on a reserve, I'd be like, for fucking old time's sake, hey, let's get a fucking butt going.
Oh yeah, let's start smoking again full on. But yeah, uh Shannon Sharpe after obviously after his time on in the NFL, he becomes a television personality because he gains a reputation
Will
as
we
a
just
guy who will
pause?
say whatever the fuck.
Imagine being the best NFL player in Denver, Colorado. Like the thing, I guarantee Shannon Sharpe just assumes that if you go into a restaurant, it's free. Like there is no way. Like
Yeah, he's never yeah.
Shannon Sharpe just assumes if you are a person, you want to suck his dick because for a period of time that was probably how long did he live in Denver and play for the Denver Broncos? For that period of time, once he proved himself, anytime he just walked into a business, just a concierge was just like, "Listen, I don't usually go in for this, but if you would like me to tongue your asshole after you take a shit, I will do that. I love football."
And then after that, he gradually gets on television and he has a show with Skip Bayless.
Okay, let's talk about who Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless is your fucking your dad after three scotches. The person. Skip Bayless is the most contrary dick passive. Actually, basketball would be better with a square ball.
He's not, buddy. He's not passive.
Pardon me. Yeah,
And
that's correct.
also, like
It's so
Skip Bayless has done
unnecessarily
things
Michael
amazingly where it's
Jordan's
like
actually a little girl. I have the evidence.
he did one great thing where he was calling out a basketball player, Chris Bosh, and Chris Bosh was like, "I bet you won't say it to my face." And then Skip Bayless said, "You're a bad rebounder, and I hate you." Like to his face.
Here's the thing with Skip Bayless is if you look into his
Also, here's why he came to prominence. He wrote an entire book about the Dallas Cowboys. What was the big part of the book? Troy Aikman's gay. That was in it. Troy Aikman's gay, and Troy Aikman, as a man who's never been insulted in his life because he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, was like, "I'm not gay. I'm not fucking gay," which is what you would say if you're gay. So
Also,
yeah, so he just was like,
Bayless.
"That's a stupid thing to say. I'm not even fucking gay." And Skip was like, "That sounds gay," and then that was the whole.
First of all, Skip Bayless was not smiling. Skip Bayless is also the thing. You look like Skip Bayless's childhood. By the way, if you want to know how you get this, Skip Bayless's childhood is described as his father was a vicious alcoholic, according to neighbors in the 1950s. If in the 50s, people are like, well, that guy's a drunken asshole. Imagine his dad, I guarantee, every morning burned the house down. Your fault, Skip. Your fucking fault, bitch.
So yeah, Shannon Sharpe is on Skip and Shannon Undisputed. Basically, once Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith join, and then they separate, and they like Shannon Sharpe likes to talk shit. He's on the NFL and CBS and Monday Night Football, so it's kind of like how you get Club Shay Shay is him transitioning out. Like Skip Bayless is a really good pinpoint for like he talks so much shit with so little to back it up that you can pivot out of being on a sports show because this guy talks so much shit. He'll just be like, and I also know how the economy works. Like you can really like fucking
Can I
spread
just say
out from
this
that.
about Skip Bayless? What I do love about Skip Bayless, is Skip Bayless thinks he's right and thinks he can physically intimidate all of those athletes, and
I love it.
I really like it. He's a 5'5" asshole. That is an American right there. This man is seven. This man's 7'3", 450 of muscle. I'm 5'5", 110. I'm gonna call him a little bitch.
He's but he's also like, I'm just gonna be famous and I'm just gonna talk shit about people.
I do not think Skip
Say
Bayless knows he's
libelous
famous.
things on
I don't
television
think that
until
I think you need to look at Skip Bayless's eye. Skip Bayless, I'm doing this so daddy can't hurt me, is what everything Skip Bayless is actually saying. You're not daddy. You don't scare me. You're not daddy. You don't scare me.
well, Skip Bayless would also talk about how he was like a college athlete, and then it was finally revealed, like, yeah, I have your college stats. You played 1 minute of one game. Like, so,
It was the best minute that's ever happened. And let me tell you who doesn't play any good minutes, LeBron James. Another thing that Skip Bayless, all three, Shannon Sharpe also needs to learn how to, is also very good at the unnecessary segue. Dylan, you got a red microphone. I once threw a tomato at a man and then he died. Like
well, yeah, that's the whole thing of the way to say something about things you have no idea, and he should write a book. Like Skip Bayless clearly doesn't really like the like or know it's one of those things he has to have an opinion on absolutely everything, and it must be fucking awesome to be like one of Skip Bayless's writers, because I do think he's like,
I don't think he has writers. I think that he has a.
do you know how awesome it'd be to be like 25 and be like, hey Skip, I've thought of a take that's going to make everyone try and throw their TV at a wall. And then he's like, that's great. LeBron James could never invest properly. He's too tall. And everyone just like throws their TV off the top of their house. Can't see a computer well enough to invest.
Do you think that Jim Rome and Skip Bayless have conversations where they try to out hot take each other? If Lawrence,
I think Jim Rome's too much of a person.
Yeah, Jim Rome is too much of a person.
So here's the thing: we did the Jim Rome episode a million years ago, and it's like Jim Rome, his bread and butter is the callers.
Yeah, Skip Bayless's bread and butter is calling out athletes and getting into near physical or Yeah, you're correct.
Jim Rome, when you do a call-in show, you're on the radio for like 4 hours. Skip Bayless is just like 30 minutes of just fucking insanity, and Shannon Sharpe just fucking screaming at him.
Yeah, it's true, but also Shannon Sharpe doesn't seem to ever make any points. Like he just sort of says a collection. It feels like every time Shannon Sharpe says a word, he forgets all other words and then tries a new word. Dylan. Lemons.
But also he's got a really good thing where it's like, for Cat Williams, the Cat Williams interview, I haven't seen the Monique one, but for the Cat Williams interview, he didn't have to interview anyone. Cat Williams just sat down and started screaming, and it was 3 hours.
And it was a tour de force. Has now implied, because I did a real deep dive, has now implied that like Cat Williams was coming in toasty. Like he literally said he's in giving some interview. He's like, now, and like Shannon Sharpe's basically like, I don't know how much you know about people, but if someone's coming in and going like this a lot, I feel like that they're really toasted. And I'm just like, what does Shannon Sharpe think that Cat Williams was on, and what was Cat Williams on? But yeah, I think Cat Williams literally. Also, Shannon Sharpe made a great point of he's like he showed up early, and that was like that was, and I know what he means where he's like, this guy's a fucking loose cannon, and if he showed up early, that means whatever he took on purpose so that he was ready to go. You know what I mean?
Well, he also has, I think one of the first episodes was Brittany Renner. For those of you that don't know, is just basically an Instagram hot lady who then just her whole comments call her a gold digger because she dated an NBA player.
Yeah, sounds right. More things change, more they stay the same.
There is nothing that the internet is harder on than a woman in her 30s who dates a man in his 20s. They're like, that is a fucking Epstein level pedophile.
Yeah. Like they just assume the woman is the Epstein list, not on, is. It's tattooed on her body somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So Club Shay Shay launches.
Yes, 2021.
That's crazy. So it's part of the great COVID podcast craze.
I guess also it's like, man, I wish Club Shay Shay just makes me want to get hammered.
Oh my God, right?
It's like a bunch of oak.
Just why do you have a fireplace? What the fuck? I'll never stop saying this about podcasts. We had a great medium going on, and then someone was like, you know what we need to do? television. Oh, like interesting, cool shows that are just created straight to audience? No. Various versions of The View, but with people who don't know how to fucking talk.
No, it's like, what if Charlie Rose had a better set? As soon as this all happened when Charlie Rose got done in the Me Too movement.
I wouldn't say it's just
Everyone's
because
just doing
Rose
Charlie Rose,
no,
but like,
but not that many people are aware it's Charlie Rose is not a de rigueur reference.
I mean, I don't know what de rigueur means, but
I think
like,
you do dropping a Charlie Rose reference. You love Charlie Rose.
I'm just saying, man. Everyone, here's what happened during Me Too. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, Weinstein," and then they saw Charlie Rose. You're like, Charlie Rose from PBS. Well, that's a good idea. And then that's how podcasts are now.
I mean, yeah, that is
Just two guys,
true.
two guys talking around a desk. That's
Yeah.
it. That's what podcasts
First of
are.
all, talking at each other. Pretty much like you listen to like this podcast, we talk over each other once in a while. I was listening to a podcast. I just am trying to fucking put some joy in my life because every podcast is just like whatever you fear, it's already here. So I was trying to just listen to a comedy podcast, and it was literally just two people talking over each other, not even at cross purposes, just different topics, just not acknowledging each other. And I'm just like, yeah, this is where we're at now. And you know what? I'm here for it. Stop moving the camera. I feel like I'm going insane.
Maybe it was over Zoom. That's what happens with us.
No, it was not over Zoom. That was even more insane.
I mean, the fact that like, man, I wish I like had a bunch of money so I could also have a dope living room. I just put hot podcast equipment in and then just like can write it all off.
I seriously, when I figured out the amount of comedians and people in show business just had a fuckload of family money, when that happened in 2018, and I stopped literally spasming, being like, how the fuck can all like, I guess I'm just doing the wrong gigs or something. Like, how are all of you people able to be like, you know, I live by myself and I just got a podcast studio because I need a space to like write. And it's like, space to write. Like, I can barely fucking afford these shoes, motherfucker. Yeah, it's fucking insane. Like,
go to the gas station. That's where I write.
Yeah, just living
that's cold.
Living in London, unable to figure out why everyone can afford to stay and gig in London for £20, and you have to go to fucking.
I stopped writing in the middle of everywhere because it's like, first of all, I remember someone telling me I'm going to go get a beer and write at a bar. And I was like, okay, Hemingway, go suck your old dick while you're there, you fucking pussy. And secondly, our mutual friend Chris Betts told me to go write in the park. He advised me to do that. And for some reason, I was like, that sounds like a good idea. I've told you the story. I was in the middle of Finsbury, like directly in the middle of Finsbury Park in London. I believe I was staying at your place at the time, around by Finsbury Park. Learned I had to shit my pants and then just shit my pants halfway to your place and then just threw my pants out in a garbage. Like my underwear in your garbage, took the garbage out, put it in another person's garbage because I'm a gentleman.
Damn right.
And then went in your house and cried.
Yeah, I don't know if you had told me that story, but I want you to know you're not the only person living in that house who shit their pants in that park. You know what I'm saying?
100%. But that's what it is. So if you're gonna write, just write where you are. You don't need to invent reasons to write.
I have a little little outside area. I write out there. No one can see me, and that's good.
Here's what I do. I turn my fireplace on high. I put all the clothes I own on, and I stand in front of the fireplace. That's how I write.
Hey, but you piss. Yeah.
To make heat, you gotta be in heat.
You know what? If you want to fucking kill them, you gotta be hot.
Yeah, and then I write the word cunt over and over again. Cunt, 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 cunt.
What do you think the new comedy trend is going to be? As in, like, we've reinvented
Club Shay Shay. Me being on Club Shay Shay.
Oh my god, I would love to do Club Shay.
I don't have enough messiness. I'd have to be like, Club Shay Shay is like one step away from.
It's a hard pivot. I would say that what Club Shay, because he's now discovered. Shannon,
because all Brittany Renner is, which is so funny. Here's one of my favorite things about Club Shay Shay, and I see this meme all the time. It's like Shannon Sharpe did a spit take when Brittany Renner said how many men she'd had sex with, and it was 38. And then he did a spit take, and he was like, "What? That's so many." And I was like, Shannon Sharpe, there's no way you haven't fucked under 250 women.
Yeah, from an NFL. Yeah, no, but also that's what Shannon Sharpe is saying. Like, yeah, for a man, that's fine. What I'm saying is,
for a man, 250 is low.
Yeah. For a man, 250 is just proving that I am not gay.
But people were like, 38? She's a fucking whore.
Oh my god. Listen, this is a new thing. The fucking nightmare of like conservative TikTok. No one's talking about how the influence of conservative TikTok on fucking people. So you hear these phrases of like, what's her body count? Who gives an absolute fuck? Also, quite frankly, I'm going to be totally honest. If you're speaking to a 38-year-old and they say, I've only slept with one person, get the fuck away from them, because that person, there's a story there, and they're either really bad at boning or they've only been practicing. You know what I'm saying?
I think barring religion, you should be above 10.
No, I but sometimes five. If you've been in a relationship your entire 20s, you know what I'm saying? I'd say
That's
five.
true. No judgment for anything.
No, I'll judge you.
But anyway, yeah, let's judge. Let's have me, a guy who looks like something that was found under a couch after 3 years, talk about sex numbers. But
Disagree.
Shannon Sharp doing a
Dylan, we
spit
all
take,
know
which
you
makes
look
sense
like
that he's in his mid 50s. I mean, I was like, that's judgmental, and I'm like, oh, he's 55. Yeah, I mean, a 55-year-old man finding out you've had sex out of wedlock is a lot for them.
yeah, but you have to factor in the NF. He was the king of Denver. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
I guarantee Shannon Sharpe
Backwards
just.
Kangol hat too. He was one of the. He was one of the
Oh
like.
my
He was one of
god!
the guys.
How many turtleneck sweaters do you think he was wearing in the night? No one talks about this trend in the late 90s and early 2000s. There's a period of time where, how hot is it outside? Oh, it's very hot. Oh, I better wear a thick turtleneck sweater then.
He's also like, this is the other thing I forgot when I just looked him up here. Extremely small for a football player of that position.
How
So it's like
tall is he?
he's only, this is gonna sound silly, but he's only 6'1 1/4. So it's like
Oh,
usually
I'm
guys who play
taller
that
than Shannon
position,
Sharpe.
yeah. Usually guys that play that position are like your height minimum. It's like 6'4 is a minimum for a tight end usually, because you want to
Let
be
me
like an extra offensive lineman.
let me ask you a question. Shannon Sharpe meets us. He's commenting on my height right away. Like he's right. Like it is a thing he's noticed, and he's like, "You're tall. What do you play ball?" And I'm me theater school, sir. Ah, he'd be angry at me, thinking when he could if I had that height.
Shannon Sharp would be great. Meeting Shannon Sharp would be fantastic, but also it'd be weird to be like, this guy could be our dad's, but he's also, people will be like, that guy's younger than you.
Oh yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah. Hey, do
He's
you?
also one of the only people he can get away with pleated khakis with a t-shirt tucked into it, and everyone's like, that seems fine.
Yeah, there is
That's a
this weird.
special type of guy. Him and The
You're
Rock.
totally right. Yeah, there's a weird thing of because of testosterone availability and the acceptance of cosmetic surgery for males. There's this weird class of 50-year-old now who dresses like saxophone players or painters from the early 90s. And they absolutely
Yeah.
can't. Like just tucked in. You're so right. With the
Billowy t-shirt.
billowy t-shirt. And also
Billowy
with a high
t-shirt.
neck. Like a neck here. The neck ends here. And their pants.
We got
Like
to start fucking dressing like that.
they blast you. We certainly do. We need to be dressing like it would be weird if someone yelled, "Who? Excuse me, Cubby." If we don't turn around, they'd be like, "Oh, I don't. I guess those guys aren't named Cubby."
Yeah. Self-satisfied professor look.
Oh yeah. It wouldn't be odd that one of us was wearing a captain's hat for a boat.
I would love to wear a captain's hat just
Oh my god.
around.
Why have I not been wearing a cap? I've been wearing a baseball cap this whole time, like some sort of fucking servant.
Ahoy hoy.
Yeah. Welcome aboard.
The laugh train.
Yeah.
That's good. That's your new Edinburgh show.
Please stop stealing all my good ideas.
But it's also people who are athletes, much like Shannon Sharp, trying to duplicate his success, but like they have to go for a lower tier of celebrity. Cam Newton, former most valuable player in the NFL, who, if you pull up a picture of Cam Newton now, if you want to Google that, just put Cam Newton now, looks like a jacked scarecrow. Like he has just like but the thing about Cam Newton was Cam Newton is not, he doesn't stir the pot like Shannon Sharp does. What Cam Newton does is he's just like really into fashion. So much younger than Shannon Sharp, just retired. But like so where Shannon Sharp will be like, I have Brittany Renner, who was a wife, or sorry, a wag of PJ Washington, a professional basketball player. Cam Newton's like, I'm interviewing, what is it, Chisayan Rock, who's just like a fucking straight up mess.
I want to say a couple of things.
Sure.
One, I like Cam Newton's dress sense. Two, I think that I sort of see what you're saying, but I think there's actually much more of a strategy to those messes in that everything in the internet now is just to generate attention towards the internet. And if you're someone like Shannon Sharpe, you will sit down with a nerd and go, what drives traffic? Like, I don't think that he's looking at it in terms of low tier celebrity. I think that they've broken it down like an athlete would to like, you need to get controversial figures on. Desperate people will do desperate things. Call Cat Williams. Just fucking call him. Just
Well, also Shannon Sharpe was on television during like in 2020 talking to Skip Bayless about like Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd stuff. So it's like
oh
he
my God. Where
was
did Skip Bayless come down on that? That must have been, I don't know. Do they work for ESPN? I guarantee the day that they
I
heard
think it was Fox Sports 1, but it was like so Shannon Sharpe was on TV where you had to talk about politics because there was no sports.
yeah,
They were like,
oh
get
my
on
God.
TV and say some shit. And he was like, sounds so crazy, but he was like the voice of a lot of people during the pandemic, where it was like people saying crazy shit. And then Shannon Sharpe had to be like, here's how I feel about this. And people were like, good point, Shannon Sharpe.
I missed all of this. This was the period of time where, and I got to tell you, people don't like me saying this, but I'll say it. This was the height of my pandemic time. I was in my apartment. I had a lot of cigarettes. I had video games, and I worked out like a prisoner. And I had no idea what was going on. Like someone had to inform me of what happened with George Floyd. Like I found out 2 days later, and it was fucking. Oh, I missed all of this.
John just did Taxi Driver, but without the part where you go outside.
Yeah. That's right. I was just.
Did you ever shave your own head during that time?
I did it twice.
Shave your own head.
Shave my own head.
John, were you still married?
Oh yeah.
You were married, not with your
married.
wife, smoking cigarettes in a box, shaving your own head. Just some,
Shaving my own head.
hey man, the pandemic was good for all of us. I got some time to smoke alone while shaving my head.
Time to smoke alone, to rest. Hey, well, it's because I also in that period of time had realized that in the last year, in 52 weeks, I had been in my own house for 5 of those weeks cumulatively, not in a row, spread out over a year. So part of it was also like I was just like, well, you don't have to move. I finally realized what my normal was I was so tired I thought I was dying. Yeah, no, thank God. I don't know what would have happened in 2020 if not for that pandemic. I think like my pancreas would have burst or something like that. I was just like, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah, in retrospect, I should have just done what I'm doing with social media during the pandemic. But I remember at the time being so fucking pumped that I didn't have to do comedy for a bit. Like I was like, a natural break? Let's fire it up.
Yeah, I was fucking everyone was fucking exhausted. It was fucking great. I don't like people are like, do you feel I feel no bad like anything I'm able to do now is because I fucking sat on my ass for a while and chilled the fuck out.
Yeah, and also like if your parents died, tough shit. It was worth it so we could get a little break.
Thank you very much. It's actually more worth it because I knew someone else was suffering.
But that was the crazy thing about like pro sports happened or stopped happening for 2 weeks, and then everyone looked around and was like, "Hey, racism is fucking crazy right now." And then they were like, "Get sports back, get sports back." Make the NBA players go into the same hotel. We get sports back right fucking now.
Yeah.
Stop these fucking
LeBron,
protests.
yeah, he can fucking win the championship, but they need
just shut the fuck up. Just fucking stop it. Stop just fucking, let's fucking. That was great.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
My favorite still was UFC. We'll find an island. You want it? What do you,
I love
what,
it.
What?
And then they have the self-produced documentary about how bad journalists are. And they're like, and then these fucking journalists didn't think I could do it. They didn't think I could make 2 peasants fight in my living room while I'm naked and hard. Well, you're wrong because Viagra exists. You don't need to be hard first with Viagra. That's Cialis. Cialis, you got to get hard. It stays there. Viagra, you're just hard. So take that.
I love
that. Was a crazy thing that I watched. I remember watching the UFC in the Apex the first time. And that's when it did hit me. I was like, fuck, you could just pay 2 guys to fight in front of you while you like smoke cigars. That's crazy.
Yeah. You don't think that he does that? I just like Ariel Helwani's role in all of that as like there's the whole Sean Strickland thing, and then Dana White being like freedom of speech, and then Ariel Helwani was like, who whose podcast wants to get 20 million views and have me on? And then Ariel Juan is just like, oh yeah, the guy believes in free speech who has like a program for eliminating journalists. And like if a journalist asks any question that doesn't begin with, Dana, you smell great, he's like, have this man banned and have his family
Yeah,
killed.
yeah. Oh yeah, he has his journalist, like he's he tried to eliminate independent journalism with in mixed martial arts, and it's done pretty well actually.
Yeah, he's doing yeah, Ariel Helwani is in an independent voice, but he still has to have Chael Sonnen on. And Chael Sonnen basically is like, well, the thing about the UFC is I like them, so can you stop criticizing them because I'd like to get paid? Fuck you. Like it's very funny that way.
Well, anyway, Club Shay Shay. Do you have any other questions about Club Shay Shay, or you're just excited to see the mess that is? So
I
once
love
it
it
gets
so
out of the
much.
comedy sphere, are you going to still watch Club Shay Shay? Because it really,
Absolutely not. It's really hard to watch if it's not specifically people fucking throwing shade. What's nice though is now
I
the
mean,
cat
shade is like a little bit of a tiny bit of like could be perceived as an insult. This isn't shade. This is full on darkness,
I
baby. This is
first of
people
all,
fucking
I
slamming
think
each
no,
other.
no. I think that Cat Williams thinks he's throwing shade. I think Cat Williams thinks I'm only saying the
Well, Cal Williams
littlest
also just
thing.
goes fucking nuts every 3 years, right? Not
Yeah.
goes nuts, but like someone puts a microphone in front of him
Yeah,
and he just is Cat
people,
Williams.
people just remember that Cat Williams is out there and then just are like, oh yeah, this is very entertaining. Like
Yeah, it's been long enough. It's been a full presidential cycle. Let's just have him say what he thinks about
like
things.
what's crazy to me is if I was Cedric the Entertainer and someone's like, oh, Cat Williams has accused you of stealing a joke, I'd be like, the guy who got beaten up by that kid at the school, yeah, go ahead and listen to him. Like the minute I knew that Cat Williams was right was how defensive Steve Harvey and Steve Harvey's retort was like, I've already commented on that. And you're like, oh, you did it. You for sure did it. Point two, Cat Williams also shouted out Curry, which is the best. Mark Curry, I'm going to say it, is the best stand-up comedian I've seen since moving to Los Angeles. Mr. Cooper from Hanging with Mr. Cooper is a fucking beast, Dylan. Holy shit. So good. And now he keeps being interviewed at the airport by various hip-hop blogs, and he just keeps talking about how Steve Harvey's a piece of shit. I really like it.
Well, I mean, they're out of comedy, really. Like Cedric the Entertainer and Steve Harvey. Cedric the Entertainer has a laugh track sitcom on CMT, and Steve Harvey has the last show that will be shown on television. Like Steve Harvey has more money than God.
Yeah. Steve Harvey, because here's the thing about the US is that just people don't talk about the Midwest. It's this weird thing. So Steve Harvey has a massive radio show in America that no one in America or in LA or New York is aware of because it doesn't air here. But it's like there's a billboard in Atlanta and it is the size of Atlanta and it's Steve Harvey's fucking face.
It's fucking crazy.
It's
That's
so
fucking
nuts.
wicked. Anyway, John, Shannon Sharpe, his podcast will live on, as will ours.
The Monique interview is an absolute gem. It is clearly Shannon Sharpe has pivoted and that we're going to be seeing more of these. The only reason you have Monique on is to do this, because Monique is going to attack for some reason. She hates DL Hughley and will just fucking go in on people and say crazy ass shit, even though like there's apparently a bunch of lawsuits and documentation that proves she's wrong. But that's of course according to DL Hughley, who every time I see him has more and more neck tattoos and is wearing a weirder and weirder hat. So what I enjoy also about the Monique situation, two villains. You know what I mean? I don't know whose side I'm on.
It
Cat
is
Williams. I'm with Cat. You were all with Cat. Monique, we don't know which side.
Well, this is the thing is when people age, it's interesting to see how hard they hang on. And it seems like a lot of people are like, I'd say our parents' generation isn't really like baby boomers are letting go slowly of their youth. Like
where are they letting go?
Like baby boomers don't try and wear like, well, actually they kind of do. Baby boomers are bad. Gen X, it's pathetic. We're going to be even worse. We're going to be like wearing huge pants at 80 or some shit.
No. We are going to be wearing fucking like there's going to be dudes with skinny jeans still getting tattoos in a nursing home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be really bad. There's going to be a house tattoo guy in nursing homes like, I want a dragon. No.
PBR IV drip
Oh, hell yeah. All right. I got to go to the bathroom. Thank you guys so much for listening. Next week, we're going to talk about some fucking bullshit. Good night, everybody.
Fuck us off. See you in hell.